Before we jump in, have a listen to how the Making Noise show is resonating out there. Some folks took my upcoming episode and distilled it down, pulling out the key insights and calling me the source. The episode they're breaking down is Coloring Outside of the Lines, and it drops this Sunday. But first, check this out, why don't you?
Welcome to The Deep Dive. We're the podcast where we take the sources you send us and really try to distill them down.
That's right. We pull out the key insights for you.
And today we're diving into, well, a really fascinating perspective. It's about truth, denial, and this concept the source calls, pretty provocatively, derangement.
Yeah, derangement. It's a strong term.
It is. So our mission today, for you listening, is to unpack what this source thinks happens when, fundamental truths get challenged. And we'll explore its specific idea about coloring outside the lines. Okay, so let's dig into this. The material uses this really striking analogy right at the beginning.
It does, yeah, the toothbrush one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine someone telling you seriously that brushing your eyes with a toothbrush keeps your vision clear.
Right. Instantly absurd. You just reject it immediately.
Of course, any sane mind would. But then the source kind of flips it and asks, well, what if ideas that it sees as equally illogical or maybe even harmful? What if those ideas are being widely accepted?
Presented as, like, progress or even art.
Yeah. And that's where, according to the source, things get really interesting, or maybe worrying from its perspective.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how the author then connects that really extreme example, the eye brushing thing, to a much broader point about society.
How so?
Well, the material argues that when coloring outside the lines stops being about, say, genuine artistic expression and starts meaning deliberately distorting what it considers fundamental truths,
Yeah.
objective reality,
Okay.
then it's not creative anymore. The source labels that juvenile derangement and living in denial.
Wow. Okay. So not just a different opinion.
No, definitely not. It frames it as a dangerous deviation, like a departure from something established and real. It's suggesting it's not just subjective, It's like denying gravity or, well, sticking with the analogy, denying that toothbrushes are for teeth, not eyes.
So according to this viewpoint, what does this all mean for us? For society?
That's the critical question it raises, isn't it? It asks if our pursuit of tolerance has maybe gone too far.
Too far in what sense?
In the sense that we might have lost the ability, or maybe the willingness, to distinguish between genuine insight and what it calls outright foolishness.
Okay. So fear of being wrong, maybe?
Yeah, or fear of being labeled, incorrect or intolerant. The source suggests this fear leads us to maybe applaud or at least just quietly accept things that, things that it believes ultimately cause confusion, brokenness, and a further fracturing of society.
So it's setting up this tension between maybe social acceptance and adhering to some kind of objective truth.
Exactly. That's the trade-off it's presenting. And it has a very specific idea about what that truth is.
Right. Tell us about that framework, these lines it talks about.
Okay, so the source brings in this idea of divine lines and immutable truths. It talks about a reality that's been established by God.
Okay. So there's a theological dimension here.
Very much so. And it argues that this reality, these divine lines, they can't just be wished away or redefined by us without serious negative consequences.
And it connects this to correctness.
Yeah, the author is very direct. Says it's not about being politically correct, but about being biblically correct.
I see.
But it's presenting this not just as like a religious opinion, but as aligning with foundational, unchangeable principles. Principles it believes are just, part of how reality is established by a higher power.
So the ultimate goal from this perspective
Is basically to stop, metaphorically, brushing our eyes with toothbrushes.
Yeah.
To start seeing clearly by aligning with these fixed, divinely established realities.
That's quite a challenge it lays down, isn't it? It sort of forces you to examine your own foundations.
It really does. It's like a practical test. The source compels you, the listener, to ask, okay, what are my foundational truths? Am I actually evaluating new ideas against them?
Or are we just, as the source implies, maybe going along with things because they're popular or feel less confrontational?
Precisely. The author's argument really pushes us to think about how we, as individuals, draw the line. How do we discern between something genuinely profound or progressive and what might be, in its specific terms, a dangerous deviation from an underlying reality it believes is fixed, regardless of trends or desires? It really forces you to confront your own criteria for truth.
So this deep dive has definitely explored a provocative view, this distinction the source makes between creativity and what it calls derangement regarding fundamental truths.
Yeah.
So thinking about this source, what really stands out to you? This idea of invisible lines, seeing clearly.
For me, it's the starkness of the choice it presents. It basically suggests there isn't much middle ground when it comes to foundational reality. You're either aligned with it or you're deviating with consequences.
It certainly gives us, and you listening, a lot to think about, especially regarding how we evaluate new ideas and maybe even question the nature of truth itself. It makes you wonder, what invisible lines do you recognize, and how do you know they're the right ones?